awake, not ready. Okay. But there's another portal there that leads to a different dimension. Go explore, see what you find.
All right. I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Namaste, Bashar.
Good day.
Can you tell me what is the purpose of insomnia, if there is one?
Well, insomnia can be created in many different ways. It might be the result of not following your natural biological cycle and being asleep when you need to rest, being awake when you really need to be awake and have energy to be awake. So disconnecting from your societal idea of when you should be asleep and when you should be awake can help you find your natural biological rhythm so that you get the rest that you need, so that you make the connections that you need. But if you also are learning to make connections in the idea of spirit, higher mind, and soul, you may not necessarily need as much sleep, because that's fundamentally what your sleep is for. To re-energize, recharge your batteries, so to speak, so that you can continue to perpetuate the illusion of physical reality as being real. Remember, physical reality is a projection of consciousness, and it has to constantly be maintained. That's why you know it's not real, because it deteriorates. That which is real is eternal. That which deteriorates is an illusion. So the idea is that you sleep, you reconnect, you recharge your batteries, you wake up in the morning, and you recreate the idea of physical reality for as long as your battery charge lasts, so to speak. But is the insomnia causing you to feel exhausted or tired, or are you simply awake and it's not having any detrimental effect?
It makes me crazy.
It makes you crazy because you think you need to sleep, or because it is exhausting you?
Well, both.
All right, so you are exhausted.
Yes.
All right. Are you acting on your passions in life?
Yes.
And what is that?
I'm a teacher. I'm doing a lot of practices, doing a lot of spiritual work.
All right. Thank you. And what is your greatest fear?
Of not being able to function.
Why are you afraid of not being able to function? Where did you learn that idea?
Because then somebody else will need to take care of me.
So you are afraid of needing someone else to take care of you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Why is that such a bad thing?
Because I need to be self-sufficient all the time.
Why?
I know where you're going with it.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
That's one of the reasons why you are not sleeping. Because in a sense, you're almost afraid that you won't necessarily wake up as yourself. That you will wake up needing help. That you will wake up and not be vital. That you will wake up and not have energy. That something will have changed in a negative way. You are being overly vigilant on your life. You are being a watchdog, stressing yourself out that something might go wrong, generating stress in your body in that way, and thus preventing you from being capable of resting, because you are afraid, symbolically speaking, that if you rest, you will not necessarily wake up the same. Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you willing to understand that you have an exit point? Everyone does. You have already determined what that exit point will be.
No?
Everyone determines when they will die. You will not die before your time. Your birth angels will see to it.
I'm not afraid of that, I think.
You are afraid of being dead while you're alive.
Yes.
So you are afraid of a kind of death.
Yes.
You are afraid of not being vital.
Yes.
But the fear is what saps your strength and creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it is the fear, if anything, that will sap you of vitality and require that you need the kind of assistance that you say you are afraid of. So you are taking yourself down that road. If that's not the road you prefer to go down, then don't look where you don't want to go.
What should I do?
Feel the vitality of your life, your passion. Focus on that positive energy and know that that is the energy of your soul, the energy of your essential being. And stop being afraid that something is going to deprive you of it, because only you can do so. So you have simply been taught to believe that this energy and this vibration can go away, that it can be taken from you somehow, unexpectedly. So you are overly vigilant. But it is the overvigilance that is causing the stress that will actually bring about what you're afraid of. You need to understand how to surrender to the flow in your life. You have to redefine the idea of surrendering. Surrendering is not giving up control. It is surrendering to the control that is built into you automatically. You have to go with the flow and know that and trust that and be that flow. Knowing that that flow will always take you exactly where you need to go. You need to understand how reality works, how you are creating your reality, how your beliefs create your experience, how your fears bring about what you fear you will experience. You need to relax into your true self and not be afraid that you're going to trick yourself. In a sense, what you're saying is you don't trust yourself. So you have to trust that you are a vital human being who is compassionate, following her passion in teaching and the other things, that you are being of service to humanity, and that nothing is going to take that away from you except you. Do you understand this?
It will take time to...
Why will it take time?
Because...
One moment. That's a perfect example of what we're talking about. Do you understand that negative beliefs need to perpetuate themselves just like positive beliefs do? Do you understand what we have said about how beliefs work? Yes, no, maybe?
Maybe.
All right. Without believing something to be true, you will not have a physical reality experience, because physical reality isn't real. It's the product of what you believe is true. So the idea is that any negative belief you have needs to perpetuate itself. And the way that beliefs perpetuate themselves is by telling you stories and telling you things that make sure you will not let them go. So when we talk about the idea that you are creating with your fear-based belief, the idea that you will not continue to be viable or vital, and I ask you if you understand, and you say, it will take time to understand, the phrase, it will take time, is coming from the negative belief so that you will not immediately let it go. It's making you believe that it takes time for you to understand what we're saying. So that's a resistance to change.
Yes.
You see what we're saying?
Yes.
It's a resistance to change. You have to hear what comes out of your mouth, listen to what goes through your mind, and go, wait a minute. It's not an absolute fact that it will take time for me to understand this, or that it will take much time at all if it takes any time. It will take the right amount of time, the perfect amount of time for the process I need to go through to have a deeper appreciation of what is being said and what I need to understand about how things work in my life. But you don't have to succumb to the idea that, oh, this is just going to take a lot of time. That's the negative belief telling you a story. Tell them it will take a lot of time. That way you don't have to do anything about it right now. And that way I can hang around for a while. And you can keep believing all the stories that I tell you, even though you don't like what I'm saying. But I'm going to make you believe it's going to be hard to change. That's one of the aspects of the story that I'm telling you. It's hard to change. Things take a long time. You will struggle to understand this. These aren't facts, they're stories. They're beliefs. You can change a belief. Do you believe that?
Yes.
All right. So the timing is up to you. It depends on when you know you can understand what's being said about how this works and know that that is just as real as any experience you have ever had that you don't prefer. So, I'm going to tell you this. You will have help over the next 3 days learning to drift off to sleep. A deep, relaxing, informative, comfortable, restful, and energizing sleep. Over the next 3 days, just when you lie down, open up, ask your spirit guides, ask your angelic team, ask your soul family for help to let you relax and let go. This is what we mean by relax. Relaxing your grip on any fear-based belief about being vital so that you can truly get in touch with your vital core, your essential self. And then you will find you will start drifting off to sleep because you will no longer, over those 3 days, be afraid. All right?
Thank you so much.
Pleasant dreams to you.
Thank you. Once you said there are questions you are surprised nobody asked you. So what would be the number one question nobody asked you, and the answer, of course?
Well, only just in the last transmission did anyone bother to ask why this happens. It's taken years for someone to ask that question, to be curious, what is that about? Why does that happen? And there are a couple of reasons. Sometimes the channel's body will simply translate energy that is not translated into words in some other way, through motions of the body, through the idea of this, but sometimes it is actually representative of communication going on between myself and other beings that is simply not being translated into your language. So it took years for someone to ask, what's happening there? So that's an example.
Thank you. Of all the practices you gave us during these decades, which one would you suggest for me to do?
Follow the formula.
No, I'm following the formula.
That's it. We have given you a lot of other permission slip suggestions and told you that it's up to your imagination to adapt them and alter them in whatever way works for you. So it doesn't really matter what technique you use. The primary fundamental idea is follow the formula, which includes being passionate about any particular permission slip you're attracted to use. So that's included within it. So following the formula is the fundamental answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question.
All right, thank you.
You can communicate with us telepathically.
Not always, no.
Not always?
Because you're not of the same frequency. Remember, telepathy is being on the same wavelength with one another. You're not reading each other's minds, you're reading your own mind, but you're having the same thoughts as someone else you're on the same wavelength with. That's why we're telepathic within our own civilization, and why sometimes we can be telepathic with humanity when you get your conscious mind out of the way, and you are truly in love. Because that's why people who are in love often know exactly what each other is thinking, and they don't have to talk about it, they just know. Because they're on the same frequency, they're on the same wavelength, and they're having the same thoughts at the same time, because it is those thoughts that go with that frequency and no others. So we are sometimes synchronistically telepathic with you, but not always, because you don't always open the door for us, because you're not always on the same wavelength that we are.
I was wondering if maybe you can send to all of us here who are prepared to receive some pictures of your ship of your civilization, of yourself, of your art, of...
Yes, well, we have described much of this before. Is there some specific thing you would like to know about our civilization?
Well, can you send us telepathically some pictures right now?
In your dream time, yes.
Okay.
I can send it to you right now, but it may not unfold until you dream.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bashar. We
You are
love you.
welcome.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
When you speak of us being in the graduating class, what do you exactly refer to?
I refer to the idea that, as you say in your language, Earth is an advanced school. And therefore, this is not a kindergarten. This is the playground of souls who are very strong, who are here for a very particular purpose of assisting humanity evolve, and therefore this is a master's degree program. It is, shall we say, not for beginners.
Right. I feel that I'm in that program, and it might be a possibility for me to actually graduate during this lifetime.
Yes, it's possible for many of you. You may go on to other things. You may stick around in spirit to be spirit guides for other people going through similar things that you've experienced in physical reality. You will have a choice. You have free will as a spirit as well to decide what you would like to do next. So if you feel that you're truly done with the earth experience, you'll move on. That's your choice.
Okay, thank you. That was one of my other questions. And I know this has been done not very often, but when a human being leaves this earth plane, it is possible to take the physical body.
No.
Or
No.
not take the body up, but dissolve the body at the time of
Oh,
death.
yes, it can turn into, and this is what happens in our civilization. No body remains behind. We simply convert back into energy.
Right. Is there something we need to know so that we can do that more readily?
Why do you care?
I'd like to do it.
Why?
I don't want to leave my body behind. And the other reason is
Let me put it to you this way.
Yes.
If it is necessary and relevant for that to happen in your life, nothing will stop it from happening. But I will also say this. When you transition, you won't care anymore about whether you left a body behind. And you will understand that there may be purposes in leaving the body behind for those that remain in physical reality, so they have something to relate to about the idea of honoring your passing.
Possible. Yes.
So
thank you.
It'll be okay whatever happens. You will understand it from the spirit level as something that is necessary, because it's not just about you, it's about others as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if it needs to happen, it'll happen. If it doesn't need to happen, it won't. And just let it happen in the natural way that it needs to. Eventually, humanity may evolve to where it is no longer necessary to leave the physical form behind, but that may or may not be the case now. So you will know what the case is when you transition back into spirit.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes.
When we arrived here on Friday night, and we slept at the hotel, and I woke up the next morning, either it was that I had such a profound sleep and I just felt that, woke up really rejuvenated, but the first thought that came to my mind was that my subtle body was up in a spaceship.
Well, yes, many people will remember that you have encounters in the astral form very often. It's not always that you're taken physically into ships. When you travel astrally, when you're asleep, you have many different experiences and do often visit our ships, our planets, so on and so forth. Sometimes you remember it as a dream, literally or symbolically. Sometimes you don't remember it at all because it's not relevant for you to remember it while you're living your physical focused life. But yes, you're very busy. Remember, when your body is asleep, your spirit is awake all the time. It never sleeps. So you have many different kinds of experiences and adventures in many different forms when your body is asleep.
Right. Is it possible then to heal on a subtle plane in the subtle body, and then when you come back into the physical body, that then it affects the physical body in a positive way?
Yes, unless another process is physically necessary for you to learn a lesson.
Right.
Then you will not avoid that. But yes, fundamentally, it is possible to allow the subtle body, the astral body, the energy form, the spirit, to realign itself in a way, and that can be one skill that humanity is learning, to allow the physical body to align with that and, shall we say, rewrite the template.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's possible. But are you at that stage where it's something that can happen without you avoiding a lesson that you agreed to learn through the physical realm? So as long as it's not avoiding a lesson, then yes, it's possible. And it might be a skill you need to learn.
Okay.
And that's where medicine is going anyway on your planet. It's all about resonance, frequency, and realignment and connection between the physical and the non-physical.
Mm-hmm. Ever since I'm a child, my right side of my brain feels very different than the left.
Yes, well,
And
they are different.
They are different, and yet one's so heavy and it causes pressure. I don't think it's a medical thing necessarily, but can you give me some insight?
No, it's an energetic thing. Mm-hmm. Remember that you're simply the kind of spirit that is not used to the idea of what you consider to be the rigidity of physical reality, which is represented by the logical side of the brain. You are more intuitively connected, and therefore the creative side of the brain feels more freeing than the logical side of the brain to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it feels heavy.
Yes, it does. Thank you for that.
So you have to balance that out in your definition. Both are fine, and you need to create a balance between them. One technique we have given to do that is by focusing on the idea of the infinity symbol, going from one hemisphere to another through the center of the brain, through the corpus callosum, and balancing the left and right hemispheres in such a way that they can function in a more balanced way, and that allows both sides to feel more equally light and equally balanced. So you can focus on the idea of the infinity symbol this way, passing energy back and forth and back and forth and back, in a meditative state, and it can allow you to feel a little bit more coherent, a little bit more cohesive, and a little bit more balanced as time goes on. All right?
Oh, thank you. Very helpful.
All right. Thank you.
And I do dare to ask some questions that might be a little different, and I appreciate your willingness to listen to them.
I am always willing to listen. We will see if we are willing to answer.
Certainly. Well, I wanted to thank you for introducing my partner to me. He decided to travel to Hawaii because he was listening to one of your transmissions, and you said that everything seems to happen more quickly there. And we very quickly met. He introduced me to you. 7 months later, we were pregnant, and now we have a 4-year-old daughter.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Also, it's significant that a week from today I turned 40, and I'm at a very fortuitous time, as you mentioned, these cycles of 40. So
Yes.
a little bit about my background and what I'm intending to learn from our interaction today. It's, of course, to serve humanity in its highest. I'm a physician by profession, and I have started working for the last 12 years plus with psychedelic medicines that are here to expand consciousness, to help
Yes.
ascend humanity.
The teachers of the earth.
Yes. I feel very honored because I'll be moving into a position, my dream job, I call it, where my goal is to bring 5-MeO-DMT and psilocybin to the masses as a safe and therapeutic medication for expanding and exploring consciousness.
It seems you already have several clients.
It seems like you're familiar with these medicines. What can you tell me about them that can help me serve in my highest?
When appropriately guided, they allow the human consciousness to expand into other dimensions, other realms of spirit, other vibrational frequencies, and allow you to make genetic connections, open up the markers, the genetic markers in your system, so that they are all aligned in a way to allow you to make more connections with more awareness and more consciousness to the spirit realm, your spirit guides, your angelic team, soul family, so on and so forth, plus the consciousness of the beings the sentient beings that surround you on Earth, the animals, the trees, the elementals, so on and so forth. So they open up doorways to other forms of communication with other levels of consciousness that exist in your reality, but in general remain invisible to most of humanity who don't allow those doors to open.
Thank you.
So that it creates a new kind of open contact with all the different beings and species of your own planet.
Wow. What are some of the genetic markers that I might study?
Look to the mitochondrial DNA. This is one of the strongest ways to understand where you are going and where you've come from. And it is also one of the strongest symbols that represents the idea of the balancing of feminine energy in your society at this time.
Would you be more specific about where in the mitochondrial DNA one might look?
No.
Thank you. That is very helpful.
Anything else?
Oh, yes.
One moment. In what area will you practice?
I've been having a clinical practice right now where I am responsible for holding the space and container, helping individuals prep, and then administering the medicine, specifically ketamine, because
I
it's
am
legal.
asking you what location on your planet.
I'm in New Orleans, and I'll be relocating to Madison, Wisconsin, to work with a nonprofit institute there.
What is the name of your child?
Jasmine?
Another name from nature, like the hybrid children that will come to live among you. Are you planning to have another child?
Yes.
By the name of Madison,
That would be beautiful.
since that's where you're moving?
Yeah?
All right.
Can you tell me more about my children?
As I said, they are a new species. They are more genetically connected. They are more willing to remember who they are. They are more willing to remember themselves as spirits, as souls, having a human experience. So learn from them as they grow. Learn from who they are speaking with that you may not see at first, bringing through information that can be of great help and great assistance to your practice. For they have made an agreement to help you in this way.
Thank you. Would you be willing to tell me more about my lineage?
No.
Am I a hybrid?
All humans are hybridized. That's what Homo sapiens are. Remember, long ago, the Anunnaki introduced their genetic material into the natural hominid that existed and evolved on your planet to create Homo sapiens sapiens. So you are all hybridized. And you have been hybridized since then, especially those that are part of the hybridization program. Your genetics have been, shall we say, refined to allow you more ability to connect to spirit, to allow you more ability to connect to each other telepathically, emotionally, compassionately, empathetically. So continue. Again, this is one of the reasons why we give you all the formula. It helps enhance what has already been given to you genetically. It helps raise those frequencies and allows you and your genetics to operate in an optimum fashion. Is this helping you?
This is very helpful. A question about that with the elements for life. Why is light not included?
Which elements are you referring
For
to?
sustaining life, air, water, sleep, and so forth?
Well, because you are light, but we're
Okay.
talking about the idea of what helps you thrive as a physical being.
I see. I was visited by a spacecraft in 2015 over the water in Palos Verdes, and I would like to know more about that encounter. Do you have any information about who visited me, the intent, and...
Even though it was over the water, it was what you call a dry run. For what we have described in the last transmission about UFOs appearing just offshore over water, so that you get a chance to simply observe them at arm's length until you are comfortable. Then they will come closer.
Is there an ET named Kasabian trying to make contact with me?
You give the names that are resonant vibrational symbols that mean something to you, that align with you. Most don't have names as you understand them. But you can use that as a vibrational symbol if it links you to that particular entity or frequency. One moment. You are very strongly connected to Pleiadian energy, and it is probably a Pleiadian craft that you saw.
Yes, that would make sense.
There are some birds in the audience. Or should we say avian dinosaurs? Will that do?
A few more questions specific.
No, not a few.
Okay. I'm very interested in the biological and belief-based reasoning behind many physical conditions.
Yes.
Would you be willing to tell me more about the biological and belief-based basis behind severe myopia and a few other conditions, please?
Well, it depends on the person and the reason they may have created that for themselves.
My severe myopia?
I cannot discuss health issues. It is not allowed. But the idea in general is to look at the symbology of what it is you are experiencing that you otherwise wouldn't learn if you hadn't that condition.
Right.
That's how to look at it.
Beautiful, thank you. Would you be willing to share a song from your culture?
At another time.
Okay. I'm very curious about what, if anything, you sing your young ones to sleep with. Some of our nursery rhymes don't resonate.
We don't
with me.
sleep.
What you sing or how you communicate comfort to them.
They are comforted by our existence, by our love. Understand that we are, in our civilization, one family. I don't mean genetically, although to some degree I do. But we are one family telepathically. The adults are the parents of all. The children are the children of all. We are telepathically bonded. No one is ever out of our sight. So there is that great blanket of comfort of knowing that you are always within the loving cocoon of our entire society, no matter where you go. You are always connected. That itself, in a sense, is a song. Now, you have had music played here, lovingly, wonderfully, by the beautiful individual that has given you the sounds of the flute and the sounds of the bowls. And you could say, perhaps, that you were bowled over by it. And that in repeating the flute from day to day, you experienced some flute loops. In our society, we do have percussion, we do have wind instruments, and we do have string instruments. They would sound very simple to you, however, and are usually based on the idea of beats of 3. However, even though it would sound very simplistic to your ears, because we can hear more than you can, it sounds like an orchestra to us, because we can hear more notes than you can. So if that gives you some idea of the music that you would experience in our world, then there you go.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm terribly excited to be
Oh,
speaking.
terribly excited.
Yes. And imminent contact, I want to be ready.
Speak up, speak up.
With imminent contact, I want to be ready, and I wanted to ask you about best practices physically.
Follow the formula.
I thought you were going to say that, but I have a specific question about
Yes.
our hearts.
Yes.
If I encounter an electrical field that's so much different than my human body, are there things I can do before contact to strengthen my heart, my electrical system?
Be of service to humanity in whatever way you are passionate about doing so to open up your heart and allow you to become more vibrationally compatible with those beings whose frequency you may not be compatible with right now.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
it's all about being of service. It's all about connecting on that deep level of the heart, of the spirit, of the soul to others. It's about expressing compassion.
Okay.
Yes, does that help you?
It does help because I practice it with animals. I have deer come through my field and
All right.
maybe raccoons, and I try to, and birds.
Animals are a good practice.
Yes.
Now you can perhaps try it on humans. Remember that animals, not that they are literally angels, but animals come from the angelic realm. They are here to give you unconditional love, unconditional support, and unconditional reflection of whatever processes you may be going through, so that you can learn from them what you need to pay attention to within yourself. So giving them love can be reflected back to you to make sure you give yourself the same unconditional love, and to others as well, as you express your compassion in service to others in humanity.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I have one more question. When I was at the end of my third pregnancy, I lived in a cabin in a remote area of the forest. And one day, what looked to be a government car drove up, and two men in suits got out and came to my door. They knocked. I answered the door, and that is all I can remember about this event. And also, I'm Rh negative. I don't know if that had something to do.
Yes, it does. We will not go deeply into the idea of the Rh negative factor, though it is connected to some ancient genetics and extraterrestrial origins. But of course, the idea is that those individuals were not what you think they are, and you had an experience that was erased from your memory, an encounter that you will remember in time.
Because my daughter is here. She's in the audience, and she was the one maybe they were checking up on.
Oh, they were checking up on all of you.
That's good to know.
Remember, those that belong to the hybridization program, this exists in family lines for generations and generations and generations.
Okay. And my last question is, I live in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and could you tell me if there are vortexes there? And
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There is also a portal that leads to another dimension that has to do with